rolling with the vibe. 2 a.m. I was all alone. Lamborghini truck in the Sade. All day long, just calling my phone. You and your friends when they tag along. 2 a.m. I was all alone. Lamborghini truck in the Sade.
Yeah, episode 26. We
back
got
at
past
it
the
again.
past the milestone episode.
Yeah, man. It's hard to believe it's been 25 fucking episodes, man.
Yep. In less than a year, I guess.
It's been less than a year?
Yeah, I forget when the first one was, but it was in December sometime. But I mean, we also had a couple that we didn't throw out there.
Yeah, for good reason. Maybe if this thing ever blows up, we'll have to release those to show the people that we're normal. Because everything, we're going to get to a point where everything is going to be so great that we're going to have to show people, like, you know, we're going to get to LeBron status eventually, man.
I mean, people. It looks like people are still listening. I mean, who knows who it is, but you know, we have a couple every day.
It's probably just me listening to them.
Maybe so. I mean, Monday was the last one. It's what, Wednesday?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that was 2 days ago.
I mean, I feel like it's not for everyone, and I guess I don't know how you. So I got a buddy of mine who, well, not even a buddy. He's a guy I work with. He has a podcast where he gets like 20,000 listens every time he puts out his podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he just interviewed Ron Artest.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and I work with this guy, and so there's a long way you have to go until you could just do podcasting as its own
but
entity.
we're also I mean, there's a lot of aspects of it that we're not taking seriously in the terms of
course.
Like, keep creating it as a business. Now, personally, I plan on being unemployed soon, which is a weird thing to say, I know, but I might be focusing on this a little more than who knows. Might come back with force in January.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's just like anything, to be successful at it, to be great, to produce anything worth putting out there, you have to pay a lot of attention to it. You can't just say, oh, it's just talking, anybody can do it and throw it out there. If that was the case, then there would be many successful podcasts, which it seems like there is. But if you took the the total of actual successful podcasts compared to how many unsuccessful podcasts are out there, I'm sure the successful ones would look like just a drop in the bucket. So it's something you really got to pour yourself into.
Oh yeah.
But I just thought it was.
There was a guy on Rogan, funny. And I know you listen to like every fucking episode.
Correct.
I don't know who it was. What was his fucking name? Hold on, my phone's right here. Some guy that lost his job, and he would apparently Miguel's playing right now. That just started playing.
Okay, Frank.
It's still connected to Bluetooth. That's why.
Okay.
But what the fuck was that?
Some guy lost his job.
Oh yeah, the guy, he lost his job, and he was at Sirius Radio after like 12 years, and he's starting a podcast from like scratch and trying to get that off the ground. He was on Rogan just talking about it, how nervous he was about trying to do that, and you know how he's throwing everything into it. Pete Dominic, I think his name is. It was
I haven't listened to that one.
That was like November 8th. It was a while back.
So
I've just literally been going through all of them.
I haven't listened to Rogan in about a month because I have listened to one podcast and one podcast only for the last month.
What's that?
Revisionist History, bro, by Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, okay. Did you read his new book? Didn't you say you were getting that?
I'm getting it. I'm still waiting for it to arrive. Okay. Yeah, but man, Malcolm Gladwell has. It's I think 2017.
He was just on Rogan on November 13th.
Yep. So after the Rogan podcast, I had listened to a few of his to his podcast, to listen to a few of his lectures. Obviously, I'm getting his book. So I just said, all right, let me just go back and see what this guy's podcast is about. Man, after the first one, I have not stopped listening. I'm just in a row. Every time one ends,
how long are they?
Yep, next one. They're digestible. None are longer than an hour.
Okay, so they're not like Rogan's like some or 3-4 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, can I really listen to Donnell Rollins for 2.5 hours? I can.
Yeah, man.
I can. I found that out.
So like, and it's perfect because my ride to work is like 30 minutes now.
Oh, yeah,
so
cool.
Between the ride to work and the ride home, That's one
You're
podcast.
telling me about fucking listening time. I got like 5 hours
hours.
each 5 hours each time I drive. So
Look,
I've been getting full podcasts, and dude,
Damn.
I've been getting badges on like Google Maps, like rewards saying like you traveled to the fucking moon and back since June, and I'm like, what the fuck have I? That's too far. No, that's not. It
So
didn't say
how
that.
many
It said
times
you
are you
traveled
making
like
that commute?
a week, like twice, and it's fucking killing me. It's like mentally, mostly. It's actually not killing my body as much as I thought it would, but it zaps my desire to ever like work out. If I drive up and back, that day is shot. I mean, it just is. And sometimes the next day is a little bit as well.
Yeah,
because I also
imagine,
can't do much work while I'm in the fucking car for 5 of the 8 hours. You know,
I would hope you're not doing any work for safety reasons.
Yes, for sure. I'm that's why I'm getting out of this very soon. So I got a little bit of a plan, but we'll see how quickly that comes to fruition. But I got some stuff to fall back on right now, and I'll after the holidays get some last checks, I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
Yeah, no, I think that's
kind of excited.
a
actually,
topic.
I've never even been in that situation. I've literally every job that's ever been offered to me, I've taken it. I've never searched for a job. I mean, I kind of have, but like the first one, it was just like here, and I'm like, yep, let me have that one.
Yeah.
When I was 16, my dad gave me a list of clients, and he's always sold like life insurance, so he knew a bunch of people. He was like, call these like businesses or whatever. He didn't distinguish or anything. The first guy was a plumber. He offered me a job like when I called him up. He was like, yeah, you start on Monday, $10 an hour, like no taxes, not on the books. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like I didn't even call the rest of the list. It was like 30-some fucking jobs, and I was just like, yeah, let me take this one. And since then, I've literally done that. Like the next job I've been offered, I've taken it. So I'm kind of excited to do it a different way for once that I'm 32 years old. You know. Took a while.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good topic to get into on so many levels. Like I think most people graduating college are kind of in the same boat. I think that's a good jumping off point, in where it's you spend all this time in college, all this money, and you're very antsy to get that first job. And the first thing that you get offered, even though it may not be the best opportunities for you, we're very quick to jump on.
For sure.
If there's any time in life where you should be patient and wait for the right opportunity, I think that is the most crucial and important time. But we want to make money. Because you want the girls. You want to party. You want to do this. So the first person that offers you the hope, either they actually your salary is X amount, or they sell you on the fact that you may make X amount. We're just like, boom, and we go with it. And a lot of us find ourselves in jobs that we are not too happy with.
Yeah, and you just keep going down the path, keep rolling with it till you're like, fuck, where am I at right now?
Yep. And then
how did I get here? But it's very
then
like you look back and you're like, oh, it's very like I understand how I got here. When you actually, hindsight is 20/20. That's a saying for a reason.
Yes. And then and then in that position, when you're in a job that sucks and you don't like, but you have built this lifestyle around that salary, you can't quit that job to find another job, or at least you don't think you can. So what you end up doing is you apply sporadically, and you give like 40% effort while you're at your current job to find another job. And then what ends up happening, because you're not giving your full effort, you're not being as patient and as focused, you end up moving from that job into another shitty job. Where I think it's important to point out what you're doing. A lot of people, I feel like, don't want to do that because of social stigma or just fear. But I think if you have the financial means to take a couple of months off in order to focus and really try to narrow down a job that you're really going to it's like, you're at a job 8 hours a day, and you're spending like 4 of them looking for another job, and then you're trying to finesse your employer and say, doctor's appointment, when you're really interviewing and shit. I just think that's the wrong way to go about it, man.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I think that's how everybody kind of does it. That's the unwritten rule of how you get another job, is like you lie to your current employer to get the new one. And I just want to be upfront with them and be like, hey, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm gonna go find something I do want to do. No offense to you guys, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm so behind that, and I've also noticed that, and this is particularly been my issue, is that when I'm at a job, I've always been so focused because I used to hear this saying. I think my dad said it or I heard it somewhere, but it was the saying that your current job is finding your next job. But I took that too literally. I think that what really is meant by that term is that your current job is working so hard at your current job that with the thought in mind that you want whatever that next position is. You want to prove to people around you and in your current position and other people in your future position that you're completely capable of working hard, busting your ass and accomplishing that goal. Where I thought about it as like, no, your current job is always looking around from place to place for that next best opportunity. And what that did is it held me back a lot within my current jobs because I never really fully gave myself to any opportunity. And the only way you could really become successful at anything to really, make the most money, improve yourself the most, you have to dedicate to something 100% with no backup plan. You can't have this thing humming in the background
Yep.
because you just will never fully apply yourself. And that has been my biggest issue throughout my career.
Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of people's issue. It's not just yours. It's that's something that we all struggle with from time to time. But I mean, not many people really are in their dream position. I don't think when it comes to their job.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But I know what I've found is that having your dream job is more a mental thing than an actual thing.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I think there's if you end up finding something you love, you're going to put yourself 100% into that, and maybe that's going to become your life, and your life outside of that is not necessarily going to be your life. You see these people that go, very far without relationships or kids, and, are just they call them, career men or career women. And
yeah,
you understand it. That's what they want. But at the same time, it's like, do I want that? Or a nice balance would be great. Something I could stand, and then, not live. You work to live, not live to work.
Yeah. And I completely understand where you're coming from, but I think that trying to find something external to make you mentally accept that you found your dream job is harder than mentally saying you're going to give something yourself to something no matter what it is. And I think through that giving of 100%, you can learn to love whatever you're doing because it is a product of maximal effort. And it doesn't matter what it is, honestly. If you fully apply yourself and you see the fruits of your labor, I think you're just I'm guessing here that you're just you could take something that you thought you hated and you could love it because you're actually trying and you could see that feedback from it.
Yeah, you got to take that leap too. You gotta actually go into it. But a lot of people, I feel like, don't try something new or go into something that they have no experience in to see if they would be successful by giving 100%, because it is scary, as you said. Change is frightful to people.
Yes, because that's how we think, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because I know. All right. So this is how I thought. It's like I can't give myself to this opportunity 100% because I'm in sales. So you could get fired at any time. What if I get fired and then I'm left ass out and then I have no money and then I'm on the streets, and then your mind takes you down that fucking rabbit hole, bro.
Rabbit holes are bad.
Right? And then you end up sabotaging yourself. So literally think, what's the only next logical step in that thought process is I cannot give myself to this 100%. That's the only next logical thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you give yourself to this thing 100%, chances are, if you're a moderately intelligent person, you'll be somewhat successful at it. But if you're not,
or you'll figure out that
it's still okay.
Yeah, or especially if you're moderately intelligent, you'll figure out that it's not for you. There are definitely different ways of being intelligent about it. But yeah, I agree.
Yes. So you allow yourself to walk away from something saying, "Man, I gave that shit fucking everything, and it didn't work out. That's still in my books, that's still a win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's still a win. But most of us don't know whether that last job, whether we really liked it or not, because we mentally sabotaged ourselves from the beginning. I know for me, it was like when I graduated from VCU with a degree in economics, my whole thing was like, I'm not doing sales. I'm not doing IT. Fuck sales and IT. So I'm in sales and IT.
Of course.
So, so I already had this mental hurdle, this mental roadblock that did not allow me to even try to become successful.
Yep.
I was setting myself up for failure. But now I finally have a job where I'm like, bruh, no plan B, no looking over your shoulder like, all right, what the fuck? Just, dude, give this shit fucking everything and let the dust settle where it may. And see what happens for the first time in your life, bro.
That's
for the
good.
First
that's good. That's probably got to be.
time.
That's a great feeling, I'm sure.
It's still
scary.
No joke. It's still fucking terrifying.
Yeah, right. Agreed. I understand that feeling as well.
It's still fucking terrifying, but I'm not anxiety ridden.
Well, that's good.
That's the difference.
Yeah. That's what.
Because I think
that's what you're trying to find.
Fear is good.
Yeah, you're trying to find the limit on anxiety. But yeah, a little healthy amount of fear is always good.
It's always
Well,
I mean,
not always, but it is good in this situation.
For the most part.
In this situation,
for the
it's
most
good.
part. Like very low levels of like if you're anxious.
If you're in the woods,
an interview,
good idea to have a little bit of fear. If you're in the woods,
that's my point, right?
Hey, watch out! There's animals. You're in their territory at that point. You're trespassing in their woods.
Yeah. Because it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for you to see a lion and not be scared.
Be scared if you're anywhere that people are not. Like if you find yourself and it's just quiet for no reason and you hear things that you've never heard before, be scared. Yeah, birds could gang up on you. They could. You could be dead. No,
vultures
I'm just talking about little hummingbirds. Like a pack of hummingbirds got on you, it's like flying piranhas.
Oh, hummingbirds roll in packs now, dude?
They don't, but they could, is what I'm saying. You never know what could have happened. How we got to this, I don't know, but it ties in somehow.
Yeah. No, for sure. That is definitely a rule to live by in life. I'm 100%. That is a pretty foolproof rule.
Fear the hummingbird. I feel like I need to write that down. That's my title for this episode.
No, here it is. Whenever you find yourself where people are not, be afraid.
That's good.
Yo, that shit actually legit makes sense, man. But yeah, man. So like I really respect you for doing what you're doing and taking that leap of faith, because I think through doing that, you're actually going to find something where you're going to be like, okay, I'm comfortable here.
Oh yeah,
everything's
something
not
I don't have to
peachy,
drive fucking 10 hours a week.
Yes,
you know what's crazy?
That
like
will also help.
When I was driving to Bonnaroo in Tennessee, it was like a 10-hour drive there, 10-hour drive back. And I last week did that Wednesday, Thursday. Like Wednesday, I drove up and back, and because Lydia wasn't here, I had to drive back and get Frank, and then do it again the next day. And it was just like when I got back, it's kind of like I said, I think I told you this on a previous episode or just when we were talking one time, but I feel like I'm time traveling a little bit, like because I leave and I come back and I don't. It's just weird. It's so fucking weird because I'm in the car the whole time almost. Like I'm in the car more than I'm not in the car that whole day. And it's just it's like I get back and I'm like, fuck, I was just here, but that was 9 hours ago. But that was so quick. Like it's like that because I drove the whole time. But I get a lot of new music and I got a lot of podcasts down and covered. So, I mean, I got through that whole Genghis Khan thing that was like total was 9 or 10 hours over. It was like that's like 2 weeks, you know, for me or something or less.
Damn, man. Yeah, that shit is very mentally exhausting. Cause I was doing an hour and a half one way, so 3 hours a day total in the car, and I got to a point where I was so
I can't
like
believe
again,
that.
it's
how long?
It's
did
not
you do
the
that?
physical. 8 months, man.
Yeah, I've been doing this 6 now, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, man. You get delirious, bro.
Yeah, I do.
And
And the
you get
things
this,
that
like-
Google tells me about myself, it's not helping. I should not have said you can track my location, but I don't care.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, dude.
it's just like, you spent 59 hours in the car in September. I'm like, what? 59? None of that was pleasurable. Like, none of that was for me. I don't travel at all for, like, joy. Not lately.
Yeah.
Remember when you doing shit Whitlow? Nope.
Doing shit Whitlow,
You know
bro.
what it is now? Is driving Whitlow. That's it. That's because I travel, but it's only driving up and back 95.
Yeah.
That shit sucks. But
Yikes,
yeah,
man.
we're did I tell you we booked our honeymoon? We're going back to Costa Rica.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's where we stayed it was some trip from like HP or something when I was at CDW.
Yeah, I remember
but
that.
This is like some resort that's like tucked away in the jungle. It's awesome. Yeah, it takes
that's
a little
gonna be
bit to get to the
crazy.
beach even, and every room has one of those infinity pools in it.
Wow.
Like that like drops off, the edge or
Yeah,
whatever, and
yeah.
the view, all the rooms face the ocean. So you're like in a jungle on like a hillside almost. And then you have to take like a little golf cart or whatever to the beach or walk down the path or whatever. But
Holy
yeah,
shit.
it looks awesome. I'll send you the picture later. But it was
Yeah,
just like,
please, man.
okay, yeah, this is where we're going for sure.
Yeah.
It was
Just
hard
watch
to
out for the
choose.
jungle cats, bro.
I was telling Lydia I wanted to get one of those fucking what's it called, bungalow type things on the water. You know those things you always see where it's like literally your room is like you look down and there's like a glass floor and you can see the water and the fish.
Yeah.
Those things are expensive as
Yeah, those are like $10,000 a night, bro.
at least. That is
Yep.
probably the cheap ones.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, we didn't do that, but
Yeah.
we got a very nice spot for a decent amount of money. So it was good. When
Yeah, no, I
the
had
whole
that-
thing we're doing for our wedding is just like, hey, let me do a Kickstarter for our honeymoon, and that's it.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
don't bring
yeah.
anything physical. We don't need any toasters. We got a
Yeah.
toaster.
Fuck those blenders, bro.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I a while ago I was looking at the same thing. My girlfriend at the time, I was like, oh, let's take. I saw these images on Google. I was like, oh yeah, let's definitely try to book this. Let's see what this is about. And it's same thing. I looked at the prices and it said $10,000. I was like, all right, $10,000 over a week or two. All right, that's a lot. But it's like, I'm sure it's all inclusive, blah, blah, blah. And then I put 7 nights. It came out to $80,000. I said, oh, that was a night, bro. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, we
But
booked
it is
directly.
So dope, though.
We booked directly with the hotel, and we did like the non-refundable thing, so that actually gave us a huge discount.
Yeah, it takes a
Yeah, so we ended up getting a really nice room, and like save money so we could put it towards getting a good flight there, like upgraded seats and shit for that.
Yeah.
I Costa Rica is awesome just as a country in general.
Yeah,
but,
I want to go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Volcanoes and monkeys and shit all over the place. Little anteater looking trash pandas that you don't even know what the fuck they are.
Fucking crazy.
I don't even know what they were.
Yeah. I think my next trip is Seattle, and then after that,
What are you going there for?
My girlfriend's grandparents.
I was gonna say it's a random ass place.
Yeah,
People don't just take trips to rainy ass
to
Seattle.
Seattle.
Although I think weed's legal there, so they're awesome.
No, from what I heard, Seattle is a really dope place.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
obviously super progressive.
Yeah, I've heard
so
that as well.
I'm excited to see what
I feel
conversations
like they've had some
can get into
riots there, right?
That was in
the what are they called? What do they call them? Antifa, right?
Yeah. Wasn't that in
bottles and shit? Portland,
Wasn't that in?
But I feel
Portland,
like
yep.
I'm just confusing all of like the
Portland
the
and
Northwest.
Oregon and
Yeah,
Seattle.
all
It's
y'all
just
the
all
same.
bleeds into the same
Yeah, it
shit.
is. It's all one square, just like Utah,
Yeah.
New Mexico. All that shit's the same. Y'all all the same in different sections.
Yeah.
They're all the same to
Yeah.
me. I'm
Yeah.
I'm prejudiced against everyone. Just I'll put you all in groups based on
Yeah.
where you live because I do not know the states or their capitals. Just so you know.
Yeah, dude, they're very, very progressive over there, and it's funny because my girlfriend was telling her grandparents, they were like,
The
they just
grandparents are
assume,
progressive.
oh, it's Seattle, you can't
Yeah,
live there.
but
and
they're
not be-
old. That's different. That's different.
Nah,
That's a
son.
rarity. That's a rarity. Maybe
not
just
in
not on the
Seattle.
East Coast.
No, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
I've only known really East Coast grandparents. So
yeah, yeah.
I got all up and down, but still.
No, they're they're very reasonable people, but they're very progressive. And it's funny because she told them, they were like, assumed that I was a Democrat. And she's like, "Ooh, he is not a Democrat." And they were like, oh, "He's a Republican." And she's like,
"Is that
no,
what
he's
you
not that
do?
either.
I was gonna say, do you even consider yourself that?
No. And she's like, he's not that either. He's just, there's some things he's conservative about. There's some things he's liberal about.
Let's have a talk about what the issue is each time. That's how I am as well. So it's like I can't tell you. I don't like to join teams like that. Fuck that.
I hate it.
That's why I can't vote for any of the people that are like that. God damn it, it's so hard to vote.
I hate it, dude. And it's
less than a year now.
Yeah, it's around the corner. And the unfortunate thing is that having the views I have, you automatically get lumped into I'm either like an Uncle Tom or I'm a conservative because, like I said, as being like a black dude in America, there's like this pamphlet that you have to download and read and recite back. And if you stray from that, even a little bit,
I feel like DC is very liberal,
radical
now. Northern Virginia though can be back and forth, I guess, all around.
Yeah,
it's
turned.
It can be country.
As of recent.
It can be country in a lot of places, which normally means Republican, which is what fucking color. I don't even fucking know colors.
Right.
What color do I get? God damn it! What color is there left? Can I get green?
Purple.
I like. All right, purple's good too.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to see, and so I also have a conversation with her dad where it was, so he's a Mexican American, and we got into the whole Kaepernick thing, and I basically, my stance on this stuff. Like I think
we haven't talked about the tryout and stuff though. That's a good thing to get into. I guess. How do you feel about that? Okay, because from what I heard, he kind of made it hard for people to see him.
He did. So I think this is where he found himself.
Like, come on. If you're going to have a trial, make it easy. Televise the whole goddamn thing.
I think this is where he found himself.
Okay.
If I had to guess, this is just a guess, but I think this is where he found himself. He genuinely wants to play football again. Mm-hmm. But he has made himself this ideological symbol, so it's not that simple.
No, it's not.
So when people see him trying out for the NFL again, the people who he has been the champion for now consider him a sellout. You're caving. So Kaepernick, feeling the pull between the two, said, okay, I'm going to try to get my NFL cake and have my liberal, progressive, woke cake at the same time. So I'm going to hold these tryouts, but last minute, I'm going to change up the location.
And go to a high school, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do some really funnily. Yes. I'm going to do some funny maneuvering so it looks like on one side I can still go back to my woke bastion and tell them, yeah, you see, I held it down. I didn't let them blah, blah, blah. And I could still go to the NFL and say, hey, I tried out. Did you guys like what you saw? Can you guys get on? And it's like
50%. That's one foot in one place, one in the other.
Yes. That's the problem with being woke, bro. You'll find yourself in that situation more often than not.
You gotta be woke around everybody.
You gotta, and it's like, just pick a lane. Look, hey, put this progressive, put this whatever you're trying to accomplish. You can do that and be a football player at the same time. And anybody who can't understand that, you need to separate yourself from. But he tried to please both sides, and I just saw it crumble in front of him. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, I was disappointed because I saw that they were giving him the trial, and I was like, damn, the Colts might fucking go. And I was like, God damn it, Indianapolis, you white-ass fucking city, terrible, rundown piece of shit. He wouldn't even want to go there. Why would they even go? Like, he knows. Yeah. Or they know he doesn't want them.
Y'all have a black quarterback, and they love him.
No, they don't. It's funny. They gave him a bunch of money, and then he loses to the Texans by 3 points. I didn't even watch the whole game, but I went to bed early that night. But
Yeah.
Literally the first article I saw the day after that was this like Jacoby Brissett is not the answer. It's like we got to get him out of there, and I'm like, God damn, man, he was just winning for us. We just lost, just moved from first place to second place with that loss. Like it's like we're doing pretty good after Luck retired the day before the fucking season started.
He saved y'all season.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And he got hurt and came back and did pretty decent. Like he sprained his MCL, but probably not the answer. But Kaepernick definitely not going to Indy. But when I saw that he was trying out, I was kind of excited, but I took it with a grain of salt, thinking he probably still won't be on the team by the end of this, and then saw the next day that he moved it at the last second, and not as many people showed up, barely anyone showed up from what I saw, and his boys were like yelling from the field like, he still got it. You see? Yeah. He still got that arm. Like, it's like, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. Yeah. They're scouts. They're professional scouts. They can see if he still got it. And he does. I saw the video. It's like he throwing lasers. And I mean, the bad thing is his prime was kind of wasted. Quarterbacks' primes can go a little further. Tom Brady has showed that. Brett Favre, a lot of other quarterbacks. But I don't know. It still remains to be seen. Like you said, I don't think he can please both parties and still make it work. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's hey man.
He probably won't be back. It's crazy, but he probably won't be.
I genuinely think that NFL was giving him a real shot.
I don't know why quarterbacks last so fucking long these days either. It's like the job openings are so far and few between now. It's like the fact that Joe Flacco lasted as long as he did as a Ravens quarterback. Sorry, any Ravens fans that happen to fucking listen to this, maybe. But he was terrible. He is terrible. And now Lamar Jackson came in. They're like, oh, God damn it. Yep. We could have been starting anyone else and doing like their defense is still like Ravens football as it has been for how many fucking years in a row. Yep. Like maybe they fell out a little bit after like Ray Lewis and company, started to retire, but it's crazy that the quarterback position doesn't change more often. They give them very long leashes and really big contracts after one good year. Like Baker Mayfield, he had a good game last week, but what the fuck? He's not going to be the savior of Cleveland by any fucking means. Him and Odell together did not explode into a championship. God damn, everyone fucking thought that week one. They're like, I don't know why. Cleveland. No, they're terrible. They're still bad. They beat the Dolphins fucking 28-0 or whatever it was, and people were like, he's fucking great. It's like the Dolphins. They're terrible. They're trying to lose. They're trying to lose.
The Redskins put up numbers on the Dolphins. Like, let's set them down a little bit.
Not fucking talk. They beat the Colts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
if that makes it you feel any better about our fantasy bet, I lost to my friend Michael on that, who took the bet just thinking he was going to lose money. So did I. I was surprised he took the bet, and I paid him. He beat me last year in that same fucking bet. It's crazy. They beat us the Colts every year. I don't know why.
Right now, we're projected as far as our playoff for fantasy. We're projected to play each other round one.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, it's crazy. I should not have beat my brother last week. He's only lost one time.
Wild shit.
Yeah, and I scored like 95 points or something. Yes. Still won, but I'm still. Yeah. Actually, he's top scorer in the league, but I think I'm second. Or you are second. I don't know. We're both up there like with top 2 or 3 in the league. Dude that's like third, LeBron. If you listen to this, still need that money. Last person. I don't have to pay out of my own pocket. Maybe he's thinking he's going to win, so he doesn't have to pay. Which, if he does, he doesn't. So.
Yeah.
But, it's been a wild football season with all the injuries to quarterbacks and people hitting people in the face with helmets. Wow, there's another thing. Sports. That we did say we were going to talk sports. What do you think about that? That was scary when I saw it. I was a little scared. I was like, damn, did he die? Because I just saw the GIF of him fucking coming over with the helmet. And I was like, is he dead?
I watched that game live. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Me and my girl were watching that game live.
God.
Yeah.
What'd you think when you saw it?
First, let me say off the fantasy thing, I'm 6-6 in both leagues. Just fucking
That's
right
rough.
Down the middle in
That's
both
so
leagues.
Rough.
It's a little rough, but it's okay.
Just in terms of on your nerves, because you gotta you're right on the fucking cusp.
Right on the edge.
Because you're gonna either be 7-6 or 6-7 to end the year, and that's that's right on the cusp of the playoffs of most leagues. It's are they both 6-team leagues? 6-team makes the playoffs?
Yes. Because yours is 6, ours is 16, right?
Yes, yeah. So we're both projected in that in that app I told you I have, which by the way, loving that I'm using analytics this year for fantasy. It doesn't help though when just certain things happen. It's crazy to see now though, because I'm using it to help set my lineups too. Like because it has so many stats in this app, better than ESPN, better than Yahoo or NFL, whatever you use. And it like I have scored in my brother's league. I'm like 4-8, terrible record, right? I have scored 155, 156 points a week. The average of the league is like 132. My opponents have scored 155 a week. So the same, like in terms of average as me. So when they play me, just demolish. So my team is stacked. I have Christian McCaffrey. It's like, well, how the fuck are you 4-8? And Deshaun Watson. How the fuck are you 4-8? Like, what the fuck? So
Deshaun Watson will have those games though, like against the Ravens, where he'll put up fucking 3 points, and you're like, come on, dude.
And I that was the league I took the chance on. Who's the Chargers running back that finally came back and has done something?
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. But then you have like Amari Cooper last week, zero catches. What the fuck? You're a professional football player. How do you have 0 catches in a game?
Stephon Gilmore might be the best defensive player in the league.
Oh, okay, that could be why.
Stephon Gilmore is not a joke. He is easily the best corner in the league. So nobody comes up against Stephon Gilmore and really does any type of work. So if you had Amari Cooper, you can whenever you're facing the Patriots, you start slot receivers.
Yeah,
you do not start primaries. They will take those guys completely out of the game.
You know what? I did start Will Fuller, and he went the fuck off. But
But so, and in terms of the Myles Garrett thing, so all right, where to start with that? So let's just say that what Myles Garrett did is reprehensible. You can't do that, not on a football field. And like many NFL and sports analysts have said, I've never seen anything like that on the field, and I don't expect to ever see anything like that again.
That was wild.
Right? Yeah, so that's one. Two, on Miles Rudolph's part, you gotta, what's his name? Is his first name Miles Rudolph?
Mason, I think.
Mason.
But when you said Miles, I was like, all right, that's him.
Mason
I
Rudolph.
did not know.
Yeah, I knew it started with an M and an A, or a Y sounding thing. But anyway, when Mason Rudolph also got to understand, you're playing on a football field. You got this guy who's jacked up, laying on top of you, and I thought he tried to fall in a way that so he didn't pick up a penalty. And you try to rip the guy's helmet off. I just think like too many people let Mason Rudolph off the hook. It's like you did instigate this a little bit.
Yeah, I heard something about him using choice language as well. Maybe the N-word was dropped, but you never know in the situation if it was, someone could have said it. Who knows if it was Rudolph? In that situation, they're just fucking. I mean, football's just violent. They're just ready to. But when I saw him pull him off the ground, I was just like, "Holy shit!" He could have fucked his neck up or whatever, just pulling him off the ground because he's a much bigger guy than Rudolph. Rudolph's not small by any means, but still. And then when he came over the top with the helmet, like Rudolph went after him. Dumb, don't go after him. You don't have a helmet on anymore.
Helmet off,
you run to the sideline. When you don't have a helmet on, get away. And the fact that I don't know if he knew which part he was hitting him with. But if he had hit him with any other part of the helmet, he may have like split his fucking head open. Yeah, because he hit him with the part that goes on your head, and it's kind of padded on the bottom there. Because it helps pad like around your chin and neck area. But if he had hit him with the top of that shit, I mean, we could have looked at him going to jail, seriously. Because they said that the next morning. I woke up and I saw it. I was like, the fuck did I miss last night? There was a goddamn riot in the Cleveland game. What the fuck happened? And then you see the dude come in from behind, push Rudolph down, and then you see the dude for the Pittsburgh, kicking, but not even like really. He like kicked him, but it was just like fuck you. It was like hey, fuck you. It was more like that, like not even like hard. It was like you're a 350-pound man. You could have fucking kicked his head off like a goddamn a football.
I think he understood too. He was doing it for more aesthetics, I feel like, because he also understood the NFL's watching. If I go too ham, then this is my ass on the line as well.
Like Garrett's really good.
He's the best. He was the best. He's the best player on their team.
Was he leading not leading the league, but he had a lot of sacks. Like he was up there, right?
He was leading his team.
I don't know who the fuck is leading in sacks this year. I haven't even kept up with that.
I think it's Chandler from Arizona, or he's tied for it.
Maybe.
Yeah, but. Myles Garrett was easily the best player on the team, so obviously losing him.
Is he out for the whole year?
Indefinitely. But this year for sure.
Oh,
they're not
this year
sure
for
whether it's
sure.
going to go
Oh.
into for sure this year, and they're still debating whether they're going to suspend him into next season.
I feel
But
like
that
that's the progression towards football not being around. It's just part of the progression where they reference things like this when the game eventually dissolves, which it will. I think it will eventually.
I don't think so.
It has
Ratings
to.
are up.
I don't.
Every
it's not, are they?
like the
Are they up now?
NBA, and the NBA is actually in a drought right now.
Weren't they
because
down
of-
for years with the NFL though? Like they were with the.
Like
I know with the
during the
Kaepernick
Kaepernick-
stuff. Yeah, they fucked it up.
It dipped slightly.
But now
And
I feel like
that's
it's
not
fucked up
even
for a
on the
different
whole.
reason. Like then it was people not wanting to watch because of Kaepernick, and now it's people not wanting to watch in support of Kaepernick.
No, dude.
Like boycotting.
NFL ratings.
Boycott the NFL.
NFL ratings are up like no other this year.
I mean, they're the best always. They're the best thing
Yeah.
on TV. They're not going to go down from that, but I feel like they're probably not doing great. I mean,
Nah,
football's
they're
awesome.
doing the best.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to shit on football by any means. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. I can't imagine it's going to stay forever, considering how much safer and less violent they try to make it every single year.
Yeah, it does get a little weird with how safe they're trying to make such a.
When's the last time you
violent
saw a kickoff?
And-
I think I saw a punt return the other day. I was like, what? What happened? I,
I mean,
don't even
yeah,
watch on punts and kicks anymore. That's like a throwaway play, you know?
Yeah, the Redskins return a kick. So
Ugh.
I mean, every once in a while they'll every once
they
in a while
won,
they'll
didn't they? They did win
Yeah,
last
they
week.
did.
I had Driscoll and still won somehow.
yeah, they did. So, but with the whole thing with Myles Garrett, it's a little unfortunate, and I think this is what makes true cries of racism get overlooked, because this man sees himself in a situation where he's in a corner, and as a black man, when you find yourself in a corner, there is one card you can play that will get you out of that corner, and that is the race card. And that's what Myles Garrett did. And what
So you don't think he thought of that?
Fuck no. That's not even in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, that was something
It's
I
even
heard much later. It wasn't like right after the incident. I definitely
Yo,
didn't hear like, oh, he definitely
yo.
called it that, and a bunch of people heard it and confirmed it.
Bruh, half the Steelers' offensive line is black. Three of the
You can't
players
say
that
that.
were there
Yeah.
in the
They're gonna start turning around the games and just fucking pushing the shit out of them.
Come on, bro. Like two of the two of the Steelers players that were right there when this whole thing went down were black players.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
Like,
good
come
point.
on.
Didn't even think about that. Most of the
Mason
players on the
Rudolph is-
field, you can't get away with saying that on an
You're-
NFL field.
Are you kidding
can't.
me?
There's no way
Are
to
you
get away with
kidding
that.
me?
Remember? Oh God, the fuck was his
Riley
name?
Cooper.
Yeah, God damn it. I was gonna call him Miles Cooper. Why the fuck are we calling everybody Miles? I was like Cooper, Miles Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Miles something.
Dude,
Yeah, he never played
So-
again, did he?
No, I mean, well, I think he came back, but he washed out very quickly after
Stigmatism,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, so I just don't think that there's any universe in where Mason
Yeah, I
Rudolph
didn't think about it like that.
says that, man.
That's a good point.
There's no universe where he says that, and it's unfortunate because these are the things that now.
Plus, he's a rookie
when
just
other-
getting a chance. Like you don't,
come on.
you don't
It's just-
jeopardize your shit. When Roethlisberger's out for
What-
the year, and you could make a name for yourself. Although
What
now
color-
he's benched, by the way.
What color is your head coach? What color is your head coach? The guy who determines whether you play or not.
Well, he did bench
Come
him.
on, dude.
He did bench him.
He did bench him,
He
but
might
I
have
mean,
a head
that's he's
injury
just
at
playing
this
like
point.
ass.
He might have a head injury. Who knows? He might have
He might-
instant. What did I think I was watching Jesus Amaro. One of them said instant CTE. Gave him instant CTE with that hit. It was just like, goddamn, probably did. I've been hit in the head before with stuff. And you're just like, oh, the fuck? I'm kind of, I'm stunned. I can't believe he even went back after him. Like the fact that he was still conscious after. He got a hard ass head.
Yeah, he got pelted.
He ate
So
that shit.
my point is though, he did. My point is though, like, I think this is what makes it difficult for other minorities to now then come forward and say, hey, and in the moment it
Cry
may not
wolf.
seem like it, but
Yeah.
I really think it waters down people's actual real struggles.
Yeah.
Because now people will take the same thing like, oh, you found yourself in a tough spot. You just saying racism just because you want to get out of it.
Oh, yep.
And I think, man, I really think that is such an unfair thing for Myles Garrett to do, and I truly think Mason Rudolph never said anything to that effect.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think so at all.
Very good point.
So, yeah, I mean, but it's football. It's still what he did was
something will happen next
stupid
week.
as hell.
Somebody will hit their wife, and it'll go away very soon. They'll let him back in.
We'll be talking
They'll
about
forget.
that.
They're like, "Would you hit a man on the field? Come back. We need you.
Yeah.
Browns suck. We need ratings on the
type
Browns."
of people that we've let back on the football field, man.
I always think of Stallworth because it was just like, were there no rules in place when he was playing? Because now you don't let people back in for very small things.
Yeah, minor infractions. But like I said, again, football ratings are up. It's the one league that can, boast that year after year their ratings just go up and up and up.
No,
football isn't going anywhere anytime
sometimes
soon.
their ratings go down. That is,
look, all right, I'll look it up.
Yeah, we gotta have some facts, on the show. Not all opinions.
Because I'm almost football ratings.
NFL ratings year by year.
I'm just gonna do past 10 years.
Oh yeah, up roughly 5% overall from the year prior in 2018. Okay.
Yep. So
it was up last year. They probably don't have it for this year yet. Oh yeah, but this article in October says what's behind their comeback. So yeah, it probably was the Kaepernick time when it kind of took a dive.
Yeah, I think.
Through 6 weeks of the NFL season, NFL games across all its television partners are averaging about 16.3 million viewers, up 3% from last season's average of 15.8.
Okay, yeah, and I'm also seeing something here that's saying NFL ratings up 5% year over year across windows, with Fox afternoon window leading, but still down from heights of 2015.
Yeah, this even mentions Kaepernick in this article, saying became no longer being the cultural war battleground that it became in 2016 and 2017 thanks to Kaepernick. It was that recent?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, so much happens in football, like in the Super Bowl and shit, that you completely forget about the other shit that happens.
Yeah, dude.
Like wild Super Bowl, you're like, oh man, what do I define last season by? Well, it's probably that the Falcons fucking let the Patriots come back from so much down. Sorry, Jacob, I'm sure you're listening. My brother's a Falcons fan. He was very disappointed in that.
Yeah, so NFL averaged 15.76 million viewers for 2018 regular season. Plus, it's up 5% from 2017. And then they're up again this year. So, yeah, I think there was a lull in the Kaepernick era.
That's the only reason I questioned it, because I remembered something about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
Yeah,
what is the most watched event every year? We went through that. Remember a couple episodes, a couple months back, what was it? It was Super Bowl, and then it was like, and not even the NFC Championship. It was like the semifinals or something. It was like the fucking wild card round. It was like, what? Yeah. But it's still football. You're like, all right. And then it's even like, oh, that one Monday Night Football game between the Patriots and the fucking Dolphins or something. It's just like, oh shit, really?
And so that's what I got into this argument with my girlfriend's dad over dinner, and he said that they were blackballing Kaepernick because he was black, and I said, no, that has nothing to do with it. They're blackballing Kaepernick because of money. Do you see the most popular league that we had? The one thing that was causing a dip in the most popular sport in America was one guy and the stirrup that he was causing. The NFL don't give a shit what color you are. Yeah. Majority of its players are black. Waves,
you go away. Dude, do you even like?
If you cause anything that sacrifices them money, they're gonna get rid of you.
That's actually why I like that show. I mean, The Rock is just good. I think in anything. I watched him since he was on the WWE. But that show, like at least now in the later seasons, it's gone into a lot of that like ugly side of the ownership and like how they do everything for money, and they'll fuck over the players just because it makes their ratings higher or it makes them look better.
You think it's fucking skin color, dude? 80% of the NFL is black, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not about skin color. It's about
It's
the
about
fact
their partnership with
that
the
what
armed
Kaepernick was
forces
doing,
and all the money they got
yes,
from the armed forces.
they were losing. They're
like, you take these motherfuckers off, or we're not going to give you any fucking money.
They were hemorrhaging money at a ridiculous rate that the NFL probably has never seen before, and with viewership. And they said to themselves, and the owners probably went to Jerry Jones and they said, if you don't fucking do something about this, or they had a group conversation.
The guy that plays Jerry Jones in
I didn't mean Jerry Jones. I meant Roger Goodell.
But they probably did go to Jerry Jones as well. Like, he's one of the masterminds.
Because he's the most outspoken. Yeah.
The funny thing is, the guy that plays him looks just like him. You know the guy that played Shooter McGavin on Happy Gilmore back in the day? Do you remember Happy?
Yeah.
He plays Jerry Jones. He's kind of older now, and he looks kind of like Jerry Jones. They put a bunch of makeup on him, but he plays that character, and he's like the leader of all the NFL owners, and he does all the wild shit. And it's funny that HBO even gets away with commenting on that. I find that funny. Do you remember the show that the NFL got shut down that ESPN had?
Playmakers?
Oh my fucking God. That show was amazing. That show, I was like, ESPN coming with the scripted series. Like, it was like HBO kind of wild shit. Remember the goddamn running back was the guy from Smart Guy, Omar Epps? Was it Omar Epps?
Yeah.
Omar Epps, yeah. And he was hooked on crack, but he was good. He was fucking... He had to get high, but he was juking everybody out their shoes, and he was running faster than the old running back. Remember? There was like an old running back that he was beating, even though he was high on crack. He was like throwing up in between plays in the locker room and then coming back out. And then the quarterback was like picking ladies out the stands, and they were like, "Damn, you got to shut this shit down. We can't have our image sullied like this."
I don't think it was. So from what I heard about it
right now,
from what I heard, it wasn't that it was sullying their image. I heard that it was resembling real life too much. They were taking stories that were insider stories that very few people knew about, and then depicting them on an actual show. That was the rumor I heard, and players and ownership alike were like, get rid of this shit. It mirrors real life situations entirely too much. Y'all have to stop. That's what I heard.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, you can buy it on Amazon. Nice.
Of course.
One left, and it's $50 fucking. God damn.
Playmakers was the shit, dude.
Yeah, but you probably can't find this shit anywhere. I might have to buy this. This might have to be my Christmas present to myself. $50. God damn. Can I stream it?
Hey, yo, bootleg that shit. Send it over to me.
You're right. Did you read a Vice article on that? It literally says Playmakers, the show the NFL killed for being too real. Oh, maybe it says the NFL killed for being too real. It was a Vice article from 2015.
Yeah. No, dude, that's the rumor I heard from the minute. I loved that show, and from the minute that show ended, I was like, why did they kill it? And it's because they were like, look, these stories that haven't even gotten out to the media,
the gay
that the public doesn't know about.
Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, that was huge, because there's gay players and no one has come out.
Of course,
no one.
Of course, man.
This article from last year says revisiting Playmakers 15 years later. 15 years since that show was on. ESPN's football series deserves a revival. Oh, man. I'm about to
and that's why when I look at
shit.
players like Odell Beckham, I'm like, bruh, I think you're gay, so you might be.
Oh, yeah, okay. I get why you would think that.
I think he's gay. So like, why? I mean, I'm just saying, based on certain mannerisms, I've seen mostly gay dudes perpetuate those mannerisms. So to me, I assume you're gay, and I know there must be gay players in the NFL. So I just think you're one of them, or you may be like Dwight Howard and getting banged by trannies, which is the oddest thing in the world to me. That story.
What was that?
You didn't. I mean, you heard about the Dwight Howard story with the trannies?
No. Oh,
Are
yes.
you serious?
Yes. We talked about that on here. Yes, now I remember.
Yes. Like Dwight Howard.
Did he know?
Was not.
I mean, he had to know.
Yes, he knew. Yes, he knew.
I mean, maybe
Dwight Howard was out here. He was out here banging and getting banged. He was banger and bangee of trannies. And somehow it just got glossed over. I'm still trying to figure out who Dwight Howard knows,
Dude,
the
it's
NBA.
because it's the news cycle, man. You know.
No, it's not the news cycle, bro. Look, I'm trying to tell you, if Dwight Howard was sleeping with a married white woman, I'm telling you that story we'd be still talking about right now.
Yes, we would.
But for some reason, him banging trannies got completely washed away, and I don't understand why. For the life of me, I have asked every time somebody brings up Dwight Howard's name in the media, on the internet, nobody says, yo, wasn't this guy just banging some trannies and threatened to kill them if they came out about him?
He
and
said,
she said,
that was in the text. That came out at Christmas or Thanksgiving, because I was with my brother when I saw that. I remember that.
She had proof, she had texts, she had tweets, she had everything, bro. And we just were like, man, if there's one mystery I want to solve in life, it's like, why is nobody talking about Dwight Howard banging trannies, bro? I need to solve that. Know. And my thing is probably with, transgenderism in America today, and in the world today, that there's this like hush hush about it, that we won't want to have this conversation because of the nuances. We'll have to talk about what trans means. Is Dwight Howard gay for sleeping with dudes that look like women now? Like what? It's a hard conversation that would have to follow if we were to meet this head on. And I think that's the reason why people don't want to have the conversation. And the NBA is like, we don't want to get mixed up in this, so kill it. And I don't know, man.
Who do you think in the NBA is gay?
Dwight Howard.
Well, other than that, is there obviously with that evidence, but is there other people that have been like accused or... I feel like that maybe in the NFL I've heard rumors about people, but the NBA doesn't, I don't ring any bells. None of that.
There was the guy who came out, that scrub that came out and said he was gay.
It's always people you don't fucking know, and it's like, God damn it, need a big time person, but they're not going to come out till after they make their money and get out of the league. Like, watch Odell say he's gay. He'll come out after he leaves the league because he will be able to capitalize on it. Then he will, because he could do it now, but he can't. He would have to leave football basically. People, there's still stigmatism, probably a lot among football players too, of that people might be gay and they wouldn't. Certain people wouldn't like it. He would flame out because I don't know. Maybe they get a lot more gay fans and that would be good for their bottom line.
Gay people make up a very small percentage of the population. It wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe the NFL's looking for a new fan base. Ways to expand. They're like, come on. Well, if they were, people would already be out.
Yeah.
Once they're looking for it, they'll encourage it. As you said, it's all about the money.
If you were to incentivize gay players to come out, first gay player who comes out gets $1 billion contract, I guarantee you. People would be lining up at the fucking
gay
gates.
ambassador for the NFL.
Bruh, I would go to the NFL and say I was gay for $1 billion.
You'd suck a dick for, that's what you're saying? You'd have to prove it. You got to prove it. Hey, what's your price? Everybody got a price. I'm saying $1 billion. Hey, I'll do it. I'll do it for $1 billion. I don't give a shit. It's on record now.
We had this conversation. You
$1 billion,
flipped.
I'll do it.
You flipped.
What did I say?
I said, would you suck Bill Gates' dick for all of his money? And you said no.
Did I? I've changed.
You said no, motherfucker.
I've changed.
You said no, and you were adamant about it, bro.
There's technology with that money that I could buy that could reset my brain, so I would never have to remember it.
Bro, I could get a new tongue, mouth, and teeth, bro, for that fucking money.
Yeah, right. I make my whole body a robot, except for I replace everything.
Yeah. No, but so there's this reporter for ESPN. He's a gay man, and he has said he comes on
what's it called, Around the Horn?
Highly questionable. He's on Around the Horn with the dreads.
Oh, I was thinking
no, the dude with the dreads.
Dyed hair is also gay.
No, black dude with dreads.
Other Hispanic dude with the dyed hair.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But this guy has come out several times when the issue of homosexuality has come up in sports leagues and stuff like that. He has said multiple times of straight up, I know that there are gay people in these leagues because they have come out and they have told me personally. I would never out them, but I know they have told me firsthand.
Secrets.
I am this talk about somebody holding the key. This guy knows gay NFL and NBA players. I forget his name. I'll look it up for you right now. Let me see.
I mean, It's all right.
Can I just say gay ESPN analyst?
Yeah,
Let's see.
They're tracking everything. It's okay.
Oh, there you go. LZ Granderson. Yep.
Never heard
That's
of
him.
Never
Yep.
heard of him.
Yeah, so if you saw him, you'd be like, "Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about." But yeah,
nice,
he's and I mean, I have no reason to think this guy is lying. Every time he says it matter of factly. Like, I know they're gay guys. They have confided in me, and I just, because they trust me, they know I will never volunteer this information. But I know for a fact that there are gay players in these leagues, and I 100 just by matter of odds and math, there has to be. There just has to be. You can't tell me that that for some reason in every single professional male athletic endeavor, everyone is straight. There's no way. Gay dudes would flock there just for the ability to be around other muscular gay dudes, if for nothing else. There's an incentive to go there.
Yeah.
Right?
It was super controversial, I remember, in the show. That, trying to,
I remember that too.
like, navigate life. I'm sure it's fucking hard as shit for these people.
Yeah. Could you imagine imagine you as a straight dude, you had to hide the fact that you were straight. Imagine that. Now,
the whole world was gay,
that puts it into perspective for me. Imagine
empathy.
if you had to fake that you were gay in order to exist in this world.
Oh God. No,
that's just fucking crazy, right?
That's tiring. I mean, because we've talked about just having like a fake work personality is tiring. Like, that's a fake life personality, because you could get killed up until a certain point, and even still today, you can still get fucking killed in a lot of countries. I mean, I don't think ISIS accepts any gay people whatsoever. I heard about them throwing people off the buildings and shit.
Yeah, with their hands tied. It's pretty savage.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah. It's pretty savage. I'm pretty sure they're not taking any gay applications. I'm almost positive, man.
I don't. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Imagine if they? I don't know. If they are, they're going straight to the vests. They're giving them the vests right away. They're like, go in. You don't even get the virgins when you go across because you don't want them.
Think about how anti-gay an organization such as ISIS is. That if you went up to ISIS and you're like, I am down to die for the cause, I have the blueprints to the building, I know how to assassinate the president.
Wait. Have you sucked the dick, though? Have you sucked the dick? You have?
Can you imagine? And just instantly, right?
Put you in a cage and drown you while you're on fire.
Everything you want to bring down the West, you want to topple their government, I can do that for you. Oh, fuck yeah, you are. But one thing, no, I'm gay. Can you, do you, they are so ideologically driven that they would murder you on the spot.
On the spot, for sure. Yeah, you die immediately.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. No, that was what I found really interesting. We're jumping topics like crazy, but that was what I found really interesting about Genghis Khan was that he didn't murder, like, as long as you didn't try to kill him straight up, like, he wouldn't murder you. He would literally give you a chance to join him because he wanted the best of the best from every army. He was just like, all right, cool. You are like number one assassin for your squad. I'm about to cut your head off right now. But you could be on my side. And sometimes they say no, and he cut their head off right then and there. But a lot of the time they join up. And so he had like the all-star team forever. Yeah. For years and years and years. And his sons did too. They also did a lot of that when they took over for him. So it's just like, I don't know, that makes you very powerful when you realize the value of your enemies, which is the fucking United States did when we brought over Nazis from Germany to start NASA.
Yeah, we did that same thing.
Von Braun, or whatever his name is, that Werner von Braun or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that from time to time. How much must you believe in something to be willing to die for it? So outside of your family, your wife, your kids, a lot of people have that religion. A
lot of religions are like that, but that is like the only other thing.
That is something that's actually, that's something that's. But even still, a lot of people say they would die for religion. But if somebody's holding your hair in their hands and they have a sword to the side of your neck and they say convert or die right now.
You dumb if you don't convert.
I think a lot, but here's the thing. I think a lot of people would convert. My question is, those who would not, I want to understand that mentality.
Oh yeah, for sure, because they have to know that they're dead, because that was remember in when Columbine happened, that was something that the killer asked a few different people. They said, some of the survivors said that they overheard it saying, "Do you believe in God?" And if they said yes, they shot him on the spot. And it was just like, after that happens once, go ahead and say no.
Bruh.
Go ahead and say no.
Bruh.
No harm in saying no. No harm in saying no. Just say, be like, hey, give me a gun, give me a gun, give me a gun, give me a gun. I'm ready. Let's do it. And then you shoot them. But like, it's like, you say whatever you got to do to get out of the situation. Like, I don't, as you said, friends and family, that's enough for me to like want to, like, that would, give your life for. Like, that's enough. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot to say even that about. But people do that with, I understand why they do it in a way, because they think, a lot of people that deeply believe, think that this is only kind of like this is almost
temporary.
This is like the pregame screen. This is like the pregame lobby. We're only here for like a little while. We're in the other place forever after this. So they're thinking like, oh, well, if I say this and they kill me, I'm going to the VIP after this. I'm going to the velvet ropes,
Yeah, but here's my question though. I understand the perspective from where you're coming from the afterlife and those beliefs, but I think I'm coming from it in a different type of perspective, in that somebody has to die for those beliefs. Right? Somebody has to die for democracy. Somebody has to die for freedom of speech. Somebody has to die for black rights, women's rights, for people to live in a free society. Somebody has to die. So if not you, then who?
But why is that? Is that because certain people are so hard-headed that the only way for change to happen is through, like, okay, we got to just remove this guy. We try to talk to him. He doesn't see sense. No logic out of this motherfucker. Say Hitler. We're just like, all right, we try to talk to him. Dude's crazy as fuck. He takes drugs all the time. Let's just go ahead and kill him, because that's all we can do in order to save our way of life. Like, that in one way, but is there another way that you mean it?
I mean in that way, but yes, there are gonna be you're going to have to sacrifice in order for your values to exist, and sometimes that sacrifice is not only the way you live, the way you speak, the way you act. Sometimes that sacrifice is your life as well, and there are various reasons, such as you're trying to kill my family because of your beliefs. I gotta kill you, bro. You see what I'm saying?
You or me.
So somebody has to die for these values, for these ideals, for these beliefs.
Yep.
So who? Because everybody can't feel like you. And Christianity may not be your thing, but shouldn't you have something outside of your family that you're willing to die for? Or does that make you a crazy person?
No, I don't necessarily agree. I definitely think in a way it makes you a crazy person, because I don't believe in any of it. But at the same time, it's just
if you understand that we need it for our society to go on, then why would it make you a crazy person?
Oh no, I mean we could definitely have a society without religion and have a lot less people dying every day from
no.
conflict.
Again, let's remove religion out of it. Like, let's say people die throughout this world for the right for women to drive.
Right, well,
you know what I'm saying? Women especially. So why is willing to die for something? No matter, I know your beef is Christianity, but still, it is an ideal that people are willing to put their life on the line for, to make sure that this beautiful thing that we have called the United States goes on.
Well, I don't think that we need Christianity for the United States to continue.
But people believe that. I'm not saying that you do, but people believe that. So they die for that. And I'm saying for some people, it's free speech. For some people, it's women's rights. So everybody has their own thing that they choose. I'm not saying it has to be Christianity.
Yeah, gotcha.
But everybody, and I'm saying, is it such that everyone should have a thing that is fundamental to our democracy, to our way of living? Should everybody have something that is a part of that they are willing to die for in order to make it go on?
No. That's my answer. No. That's all I got. Because that's not what I mean, I don't have that. So, no. What is your answer?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, free speech, for sure.
Yeah, but
Free speech. That's mine.
I don't know, but no one's trying to take that away, I don't think, in a way that could ever get violent again. I don't think it could devolve into something over free speech. Because, I mean, especially because of the internet. God damn it, people can say whatever the fuck they want. And yeah, I know there's instances where people get banned. Yeah, people get banned, whatever. But no one's getting killed over that. No one's fucking picking up arms because they're not allowed to tweet anymore. They're creating a burner account is what they're doing.
But people are getting killed for the things that they post and they tweet. But what I'm saying is
I'm saying is I'm not. Yeah, but that's opposite of killing in order to maintain freedom of speech. That's killing because of freedom of speech.
Yeah, correct. And so, but what I'm saying is that is anything, freedom of speech is important enough to me where if my government came to me today and said, you have to go and fight this war and put your life on the line and be on the front lines of this battle, or else we may lose these values, I would say yes to that. That is my thing where if they made a plausible enough argument that I'd be like, to maintain that right, to be able to say what I want,
that they would say only our free speech is the one thing that's under attack.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that that's the only thing that they would say. It could be a compilation of things, and free speech is just one of those things that they happen to mention.
Yeah, but you're talking about a place where the United States is in an all-out war and our entire military has been wiped out, and they need regular people to step up and fight for our freedom. That's what our military fights for. Like, we don't need to go into the military for that because we have plenty of people that do that. So you don't have to die for those values in that way. They're not going to ask that of you. They're never going to. I mean, unless aliens come, maybe aliens.
I don't think it's this. I think
the more logical thing is that the more likely thing is that you would be fighting against our government trying to take away our ability to say the things that we want. I don't think that's going to come from some outside source. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I disagree with the example you used, I think, because it was far-fetched. I'm like, what war? Who's trying to say we can't say shit no more? I don't think that's going to work.
No, and that's what. Yeah,
but I think it's more likely that our government would try to censor people, which is, I mean, it does in a way. But once again, with the internet, it's very hard for them to police that. I mean, they still do, though.
Yeah, and so we could take it if that argument was too far-fetched for you. We can, like you said, we could bring it within our own borders
because that's happened before. I mean, that shit has gone down. That's our past. That, and what you repeat the present. I don't know what the fucking saying is, but you know what I'm saying. You repeat. If
you don't learn from your past, you're destined to repeat it in your present. Sure. Something to that effect.
Yeah, there you go.
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter in what context you put it. If I was convinced that my own government was coming to take away my right to say and speak freely,
China.
I would die for that.
China or I was gonna say Hong Kong. Hong Kong. God damn, I can't speak. Hong Kong. That's kind of what's happening right now, and I say that wouldn't happen. Like, that's an example that even today I couldn't see our government getting to that point because I think people like you and me, like people in America, wouldn't let that happen, just like people in Hong Kong are doing, but that's also a much smaller, more focused area. That would be more like one state, I guess, in the United States, or in its specific, the East Coast or more like the South. Those people. They've done it before. Those motherfuckers. They tried to break off once.
I don't know if I'm more cynical than you are, or I'm more. I don't know what it is.
Your irrational fears play on things with me, like irrational, like you're gonna have to fight a war, like you're gonna have to be in the military. But look, like those like set something off in my mind where I'm like, like that situation is my fantasy of how the end of the world happens, like that we have to all fight or aliens or a natural disaster or something. But it's so much less likely than our own government doing something, or it coming from a state government or something, a rogue organization within our own country.
I think you are definitely underestimating how fragile democracy is. To a great degree, I think you are doing it a disservice by saying
years.
how I think you're doing it a disservice by saying how unlikely these things are to happen, because in the rest of the world, what we have here is not the norm. This is not normal. We are abnormal in comparison in a few other countries. This is abnormal. Most of the other countries in the world are chaotic, and it's dictatorships.
Well, they're more like
communism.
States.
You said what?
They're more like states that we have. They operate in a different way than like a joint, country, and they border people that are completely different from them.
Correct. Most of this world lives in a pretty much on the edge, either in chaos or on the edge of chaos. That is the norm. This comfortable life that we live, and that we have access to all this beautiful shit. We can say what we want to say about the president. That is very abnormal. And something that fragile, something that abnormal, I'm telling you, it doesn't take much to break it.
But
and that's all I'm saying to be aware of.
But what could there's nothing that could break it. There's no what could break it? What's an example that would work, though? Because it's not going to ever go back to how it was. That's never, even though Trump has constantly said, make America great again, it's never going to be how it was. Like, as all the wild shit that he's tried to do hasn't happened. None of it's fucking happened. He just says wild shit all the time.
Okay, but let's say, I don't think he'll do this, but let's say Trump, for whatever reason, loses the election and doesn't decide to leave. That one decision could send this thing we call America into a downward spiral that I think the likes of neither of us could even imagine.
That's only if he had the backing of the military, which he doesn't. I don't think he does.
Look, you don't know, but that's what I'm saying. You don't know.
They would follow the Constitution. That's what you
think. But if he doesn't follow the Constitution,
I don't think he cares that much either. I don't think he's as dangerous as people think he is, and I don't think he cares that much to run the entire thing until he dies, which will be very soon after he leaves office.
I don't think he's these are completely hypothetical. Like I said before, I don't think this is something he would do. But what I'm trying to say is it's very easy for things on such a fragile footing to slip, and all it takes is one chain of events by the right person in the right position to send a domino effect that will ripple across our country. It's happened in every civilization prior to us.
As you said, we're not like any of those other ones. Just as you said, it's not like it's not going to be a coup. There's not going to be all of a sudden the military supports Trump and they're going to back him, and anyone that tries to take office is going to be shot dead, and then there's violence in the streets. Like, that's just not going to happen in the United States, because our military is completely separate from the government. Like, they are a completely different body than the president himself. He doesn't have that control. Plus, he's fired fucking every goddamn person in the whole goddamn thing. It changes constantly. There's no one that supports him. Don't remember what I was saying. But yeah, something about a coup.
Yeah, no, and I certainly understand what you're saying, that, and so far our Constitution has worked. So far the safe, what are they called? The safe mechanisms that we've what's the word? It's something safe mechanisms that we've put in, fail-safe mechanisms that we've put in place have worked thus far. But what I'm trying to say is that we, for lack of better words, have gotten lucky. This time of peace, with people not fucking with us, even though, 9/11, we all remember that. But for the most part, an entire country of this size, peaceful, getting along for the most part, no war within our own borders. What I'm saying is that this thing, even if it's 200, 250, 400 years, it is a very fragile thing. Things tend more towards chaos than towards order. So if we don't have appreciation for the fact that this is not the normal state of things, it's much easier for us to take it to granted and allow things to slip and have this thing revert back to chaos, is the only point I'm trying to make.
But what's different about now than how it's ever been. I feel like now is the best time, like as a country, that as we've ever had. Not to say that Trump has anything to do with that. I think the president's just a fucking title position that goes, on and on and on. Like they barely have anything to do with how this country actually fucking runs.
I agree. No, you will hear no argument about that from me. I 1000% agree with you on the point that this is the best the world has ever been. I am so grateful to be living in this country. I hope this shit lasts forever. But what I'm saying, historically, literally everything before us up until this point has proven that moments of like this, they can not only do they not last indefinitely, the smallest thing can tip it over because people are unappreciative of how delicate it is. And all I'm saying is, if we're taking history as our indicator, we must be very careful about how easy it could be us to fall back into those same patterns.
Because hasn't that happened less and less and less as time has gone on, and war and violence? I mean, most of that stuff is in most places you would think is going down.
It's declining
just because some places, of people having better lives. Just quality of life is better because of technology, and eventually robots will be fucking carrying us on their backs or some shit, walking to the grocery store or some shit. But it's just like it seems like it's better and better. I mean, yes, in my head, they're just I don't know how it could devolve into something as you're talking about, unless some catastrophic event happens. Not that we could just get that way as a society. At least my confidence, I think, is not in that people would allow that to happen. That we would at least a majority of people would be on one side, and we're like, all right, calm the fuck down over there. Y'all are fucking this up real bad right now.
So how do you think this stuff happens in other places?
I no idea, man. No idea. I don't even try to understand.
That's what,
because it's hard. I mean, it's hard and a pointless exercise in my head to try to understand. At least in my I don't read about that stuff constantly, so I don't try to understand why they're going about it. There's a lot of shit to read about, man. There's a lot.
I understand that, but I'm saying when you read about countries slipping into dictatorships that were democracies, when you hear about things like this, I think you should really pay attention to that, because when you read about how it happened and it's this slow roll, this slow domino effect, you're like, fuck, why couldn't that happen here? Why hasn't it happened here?
They have to have control of the military. It's the only possible way it could happen, because you can't. Violence, as you said, is the only way for it to happen. And the only way to control people is with that violence, and you have to have the military.
Okay.
The smaller countries, I think it's a little easier for them to get the control of that military for whatever reason. Especially because there's so many different types of government. And there's even many types of democracy that some even might look like a completely different type of government.
Let me ask you something. If shit went down, what do you think the military would do?
What do you mean shit went down, though?
If things took a turn for the worse, where there was a coup, where a president wasn't willing to leave office, and people took up arms, and there was a clash amongst the populace, what role do you think the military would play?
Well, I don't think it would get to that point, because the coup is when the military takes over the presidency. It's not like we're gonna have an election. We're going to have an election. Someone else is going to get elected. They'll just pick the man up and fucking carry his ass out of office. He doesn't have a private army or people with guns. That's literally it. It's literally, you're right about the whole violence thing. They're gonna. He couldn't do that. Yes, his supporters could riot or whatever, but that's not.
5 million people show up with guns. What part do you think the military say? Yes, you're right. Trump could just be carried out on his ass by one strong dude in a fucking speedo.
If somebody that comes into office and
if 5 million people showed up,
that might happen.
If 5 million people showed up on the White House front steps with guns, what role do you think the military would play?
It can't happen, because it would be hypocritical of what they're fighting for.
Why couldn't it happen?
Because they're fighting for America. If they're fighting for what they believe in is America, that's the Constitution, right? And that says that the president can't have more than 2 terms or whatever the fuck it says. So
you think people think that logically when they're that emotional?
if you're talking about the people that I think you're talking about that are supporting Trump, they are fucking diehard America, I hate Colin Kaepernick, that type of person. So
and what if they believe that they are saving America by doing that? And this is what I'm saying.
They're not. They're just going to latch onto another guy that's younger and on their side still.
You're saying they're not because you don't think that way.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to show up with guns unless you're trying to take their guns. That issue, somehow, if a liberal person got into the White House and somehow took their guns, I don't know how that would ever happen. But if they did, that would cause people to show up with guns. But not the fact that they're trying to take a president out of office when that literally has always happened. They've always come out of office.
So you think all of these militias that formed, that if they had a genuine chance to act on some of these beliefs,
you're talking
that
about the militias in this country?
Mm-hmm.
Formed since Trump was in office? Because we've always had militias. Those have been
We've always
around
had
since
militias.
the
Correct.
beginning of the country.
Correct. But let's say, and I'm saying hypothetically here, these radicalized militias that
white
truly
people with
support
guns.
Trump.
That's all it is.
I'm not the one to say it. You can say it. But,
that's always going to be a thing. We killed all the Native Americans with that.
I understand what you're saying about like the Constitution, and then I think from my standpoint, that seems just a little too rational, and most people don't think about it holistically the way we're talking about it right now. It happens one small action at a time. First, it's some guy on Facebook saying, I'm not standing for this. Trump should be the rightful president. I'm showing up to X, Y, and Z. Then it takes
but he is the president. He is. They're happy. They're happy he's the president.
Correct. But I'm saying we're talking about in the future tense. We're saying hypothetically.
These
we're
are
not
literally
operating
like
on reality.
These are the American people that voted for Trump, hypothetically, that we're talking about. These are the people that are already on his side. They're just going to vote for him again if he loses. There might be some up in arms about the vote count or something like that, but it's not going to. They understand the process. This is their America that they love, and that got him elected in the first place. That's what they're going to go by.
So, Andrew, do irrational people exist in your mind?
Yeah, they do.
So why is it so hard to think that people cannot act irrationally?
They did. They voted for a man, and he's in office.
Why does your irrationality stop at voting?
It doesn't.
Oh, I voted and it didn't work. Now my irrationality is done.
It doesn't. But
why would it stop there?
Has anyone ever formed some sort of force that could fuck with the millions and millions of military people that we have?
But you just said the military wouldn't do anything.
There would never be that many people showing up in one place with guns that could be organized in any way. They're not. It's not.
What if they did? That's the answer.
The military
it's not going to happen.
Would shoot them because there's 10 to 1, 100 to 1 in the amount
Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear.
Kill them.
Then what happens
when
the military kills?
Or no one would shoot a shot.
What happens when, and then what? Were the military just going to let these 5 million people do what they want?
What do they do when they stand there with guns? What are they going to do?
Who knows? What I'm telling you is
you got to have more. You got to have more details than that when you come with a hypothetical situation that isn't going to happen.
But this is what I'm saying. You being so short isn't going to happen. Look, I'm sure many people throughout our very short history as human beings have said things are so great right now. What could ever happen to fuck this up? And guess what happened? Something fucked it up. And all I'm saying is you have to operate on the assumption that throughout history, 99.9% of the time, something has fucked shit up. And the likelihood that it will happen again is greater than it won't.
99.9% of the time this country's existed, nothing bad has happened. Most of the time, it's just normal shit. Nobody's uprising.
Okay.
No one's ever had a successful uprising of any kind in this country.
Did we not have a civil war?
Was it successful?
How many millions of people died?
That's not successful.
Almost successful.
That's not successful. That's a huge failure. That's the biggest stain on American history of all time. No one wants that again.
But Andrew, what I'm trying to get you to understand is it could happen again, and the side that was supposed to win might not win again.
What are they going to fight over that is that important that they were fighting over back then?
So back then they were fighting over slaves and the right to own slaves.
And seceding from the United States as states. There were many less people back then. Also, the governments were not organized in the same way in terms of the states. They all bow down to the federal government now. It's not that same way. You're not going to have governors being like, fucking, let's get on the goddamn horses and fucking ride against the federal government. That's never, shit's not going to happen.
Right, I get that. If I could predict how shit was going to go down in the future, I'd be a savant. I'd have millions of dollars. This podcast we'd be doing.
I like hypotheticals, but I like ones that like make sense. I can't see any of this happening.
So because in this little blip in history, which we can acknowledge, 300 years in the scheme of things is nothing. Can we start there?
Well, yeah, but we're talking about America's history. 300 years is the entire thing. So, a big percentage, each 100 years is 33%.
How long was the Roman Empire? The most powerful, successful nation in the history, and it ruled everywhere that the fucking eye could see. How long was that? What, 500 years?
They didn't have computers, Twitter. They didn't have access to the rest of the world.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No,
they fucking ruled everything, man.
No,
well, not the whole world, but they
ruled a very small area.
No, they were not.
Genghis Khan ruled more area than they ever did.
Okay, and what happened to Genghis Khan?
Of the world.
What happened to Genghis Khan?
He got shot with an arrow in battle. It wasn't an uprising from his own people. That's not what it was.
So look, what I'm trying to say, I don't know if it could be an uprising, if it could be something external. It could internal or external. God or universe bring it upon us, whatever it may be. The point I'm simply trying to make here is that this thing is very fragile. This thing is not the norm. This thing is precious, and we should treat it as such. And I think if we're ever in the mind state that this is just great, what happened, nothing has happened, it'll continue to be great, I think we set ourselves up for failure. I think by the time something bad happens, because we were ignoring it or not willing to pay attention to it, it will blindside us. Where if we stay on guard and say, hey, this thing is great, look how long it's been great, I fucking love it, but let's be aware, throughout history, shit has gone left most of the time. So what can we do based on that history to make sure shit doesn't go left for us? I want to continue this thing going. I'm not saying that something is going to for sure go down at this point. I would love for this to go on indefinitely, but it's from my point of view, that happens if we acknowledge that the chance of it going wrong for whatever reason is more likely than not.
But
that's my point.
What you're saying is that something can happen that would disrupt this democracy, this whole country. And
something can happen, correct.
What I'm saying is that it's not likely for that to happen. There's no what if scenario that makes sense in the future, even if you point at something really bad that happens, say a catastrophic event or something goes down with the election, whatever, you can point to that and say, yes, this is it. Shit always goes wrong with elections. Shit always goes wrong with the government. Shit is going to happen constantly, but it's only going to get better as time goes on because we as people only want it to get better. Nobody wants this shit to get worse. Even the people even Trump in his big rich people, they want it to get better for themselves. They're not going to let it devolve into something that risks their lives or their livelihood or the way that they live. It's not going to happen. This is too fucking important to everyone that has a stake in it. It's never going to happen. That's why this operates as it does and always has.
So what happened in Germany, man, with the Nazis? How did that? You think people wanted that? You think most people were like
a racist, homophobic, crazy drug addict person took over the government.
And you're saying
which is exactly the description people have given Trump, but he is completely far from what fucking Adolf Hitler was.
Yeah. And so you're saying simply because we're America and they weren't, because we're in the 21st century and they were not, could not happen to us. Because of what you don't think technology. They had. You don't think they had the best technology of their time? They didn't have.
Well, they did, but it was shitty, is what I'm saying. Technology will not allow what you're saying to happen. If it happens, it will be because of technology. It won't be because of people. It's not going to happen because of people.
even if it happens because of technology, people would be the catalyst to drive that. That's my point. And
It's
so
just cause
even
and
if it
effect.
happens,
I mean, you could say
whatever
that
it may be,
God
you're gonna
caused
need
the
people
person that caused the technology. So if you're religious, then God caused it. So I mean, it's
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're going to need the people to be the catalyst to carry out whatever actions happen. And whether they're influenced through some medium, through technology, or whatever it may be, the point I'm making is it could happen. Yeah, in Germany, they had the best technology. They had all these fail-safes in place to make sure some tyrant doesn't take over the government. And yeah, the military might not be...
That's not true, though. From World War One, they were preparing for Hitler to take over. He was a soldier in World War One and took over the government because of his prowess on the battlefield. They literally, like, he didn't just take over the government. They wanted him to take over the government.
Right, because of the rhetoric he was speaking, which in theory sounded like, hey, this is great. Everything is going to be better. But it ended up turning out to be for the worse. And I'm saying that it could I can't.
And they weren't just killing people in their own country either. They were killing people all around the world. That's completely different.
And in their own country?
But they weren't. That's not what they were. They weren't taking people and just. They were killing one specific group of people. Specific group. In their own country that were not who they deemed Germans. So what you're saying is that all of a sudden, I mean, unless you can come up with a situation.
I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah, but what situation compares to that? It doesn't. Nothing that could happen here compares to that, unless some guy took over and started killing one group of people.
I'm not saying the specifics of Nazism will happen again.
Do you believe in evolution?
I do believe in evolution.
Like that people evolve and get better over time, learn from their mistakes.
Absolutely.
Then that's the direction I'm going with it. That's what I think is that you can't. I mean, yes, there are going to be certain groups or certain small sects of people. Just like I feel like Joe Rogan always talks about this, like the small minority is the loudest in terms of like you hear the people complaining about certain stuff, like Dave Chappelle's comedy special or whatever. It's like 5 people that were saying shit about it. Nobody hated it. Like everyone fucking loved it, you know? So it's just like you have the small minority that's saying this is bad or this is good or complaining about one thing or another, and it seems super loud, but it's not actually as big as it seems.
No, I completely agree with that. With most things, yes.
Especially with Trump, too. I see him as so pathetic and just so harmless at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly on your side.
Maybe 2 years ago, I would have been fucking on this harder than you are right now.
A small vocal minority could certainly make it seem that an issue is larger than it is. Of course, I'm never going to argue that. What I am saying, though, is that sometimes it can sound like a small vocal minority and you could disregard it, and it could end up being a lot larger than you think, and before you know it, it's too late. Nobody knows. No, I don't think any sociologist or psychologist could tell you why crowds evolve the way they do, where something could go from something small and isolated, and it could spread like wildfire and infect. That's why Jordan Peterson constantly says people don't have ideas have people, where something can take the hold of the minds of a lot of people, and before you know it, people are acting in completely erratical and irrational ways, and you don't know what will be the spark of it. And what I'm saying is you see it happen so much. And yeah, right now it's small. It sparks up here over some bullshit transgenderism. It sparks up here over racism. But you don't know whether what a seemingly innocuous idea can catch hold and spread like wildfire and possess people to do things that they don't think they would even do. I'm sure a lot of those people in Nazi Germany weren't like starting the day off like, I want to kill some Jews, but a lot of those same people were murdering thousands of fucking Jews. And I'm saying that it could evolve in that way without you being cognizant that it is evolving that way. That's why these things are allowed to spread the way they do. Because if it was that simple to acknowledge them in the moment, we would be a lot better at saying like, whoa, that's crazy. But we're emotional and a lot of times irrational creatures. And sometimes we can end up acting in ways and later look back like, what the fuck did I do that for? You get enough people to do that at once, wild shit can happen.
Well, yeah, but that, as you said, it's not going to be an instant thing. It's going to be over an amount of time. You're not just going to see as you had an example earlier, 5 million people aren't just going to show up with guns on the White House lawn because Trump doesn't get elected. They're just going to be pissed, just like everybody, just like they were when Obama was in office. Nobody shot a black president, and he was in office for 8 years. Like that. I mean, no one even attempted.
That's a miracle.
Yeah, like everyone had to think something was going to fucking happen. I did the whole time. I thought somebody was going to do it to Trump. Like, it's just the fact that it doesn't even happen now. Like, I feel like every president used to get their life attempted. Now nobody even fucking tries. I don't know why that is. I mean, technology. You know what? It's technology.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? Please
technology.
Don't listen to this people in the government and take this as we're saying stuff about the president. I mean, we are, but we don't wish him any harm. Or we do. I don't know.
I gotta go to my safe space.
As you said, it's going to be a slow thing. It's not going to be something where you're even going to notice it if it were to happen. But I also don't think it's just like this. There can't be this group with this evil plan that's going to be hatched, and all of a sudden, like, I just don't give them that much credit. Yes, sure, there's smart people in the world, but I don't see them getting it under that many people's noses. Yeah, sure, I'm sure the elite of the United States run our government in terms of like the financial elite probably run most of the government and have control of it. But at the same time, it's like I don't think they're even going to let something like this go that way, devolve that way. But I see what you're saying. I see your side in terms of that. It's completely possible, as it is with any country, because human beings are fucking unpredictable as shit, and they go crazy some fucking time. I mean, the Charlottesville thing was fucking wild. Nobody fucking saw that shit coming.
Came out the fucking woodworks.
Why did y'all buy all the torches? Now nobody can have no backyard torches without it looking racist. Like, goddamn it.
It is so dark in Charlottesville
can't
right
drive
now,
no goddamn Chargers anymore. You running people over with them.
Yeah.
It was a white person that got killed too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Just out there, not even like, being an ally,
and
or
a white woman at that. So you knew he was going to jail.
Like, oh yeah, for sure. But but yeah, it's just I can't see an event like the Civil War or something like that. And yeah, probably the Civil War happened over the course of time, but we view it as a single instance that
correct.
It was just like, oh shit, it happened all of a sudden.
Yeah,
and Lincoln was like, no, that's bad.
Now, and that's my point. That's
but I don't see it as like an evil plan takeover type thing. I don't. Maybe people have designs on that, but that's way too movie-ish Hollywood.
Yeah, no. I don't think about it in those terms either. Like, that shit is irrational. But what I am saying is that these things these smoldering embers, the wind can blow in the right direction, and these things that have just been smoldering in the background can catch flame. And it looks like, where the fuck did this fire come from? But all the while, those embers were there, but we just never realized them. And that's why I'm so big on the fact of just being conscientious of the fact that there could be embers. And the more aware you are of that fact, then you could do something to put water on them when you see them.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you're just like,
you're talking
no
to the
embers
most
exist,
wanting to be prepared person in any situation there is. So I completely understand that. It's just not one that I'm even preparing for, because I don't see it. Like, people
certainly
are unpredictable, and the shit is not prepared. Like, yeah, you can prepare mentally for it maybe, but like you just gotta kind of roll with how the fuck it goes and figure it out when it happens. Like, you're not gonna, I mean, I guess you could be a prepper and stock some shit, wait for D-Day to come, or the end of the world, apocalypse or whatever, but I don't.
Yeah,
it's more, you just have to, I don't know, prepare mentally. It's just nothing you can really prepare for.
And you're right. So the point that I was giving with people taking a turn for the worse, you're right. It usually is not going to happen over an election or over things like that. You usually need some act of nature outside of that to incite it.
Oh, I think that's
take, for example,
possible.
like a pandemic, which is out of all the things
disease,
likely
right?
Disease. Yeah. Out of all the things most likely to affect humans and kill them in large numbers, more than climate change, floods, it's pandemics, right?
So I'm dying in, just so you know. I get sick.
Why?
I get sick sometimes. It lasts for a while.
I never get sick.
So I'm dying in that. If next scenario, I'll tell you. I'll tell you if I survive. Zombies, I got it.
But now that's my point, right? So like something like a pandemic can sweep in and kill like half of Congress.
Yeah,
or
I mean the
wipe
Black
out
Plague
the
that happened back in the day, like that,
kill
like,
half the population
in Europe. I think, yeah, it was some insane thing. But it's just like, especially if it was a disease that we don't have any type of cure for. You remember when the Ebola scare?
Oh man!
Oh, I was like,
I was so shook.
I think I bought gloves and masks just in case. I still got them. I'm not kidding.
I was shook, man. Yeah. So and so what I'm saying is that is the more likely scenario, and this act of nature which we cannot predict is it could send and then these people who are rational and democracy and free speech, all of a sudden you could see this thing take a change for the worse, and that's what I don't want to see happening.
Oh no, but it would for sure.
It will.
Yes, like it like there's, I mean, asteroid, volcano, earthquake, hurricane. What was the other one? There was another one I was thinking of. Mass coronal ejection. You remember that dude on Rogan?
Yeah.
Dude, if the power goes out for more than like 3 days, you kind of gotta be worried. You kind of gotta be worried.
It's a wrap.
Like, dude, I remember not having power at my house for 7 days after a hurricane one time when I was in high school. I think
you start turning into a monkey.
I felt weird. Yeah, I did.
You go primal, bro.
Yeah, you sleep just like a starfish at night because it's hot as shit during the summer. You're just like, fuck, no covers, just like,
primal.
God damn it. I'm gonna sleep up in a goddamn tree outside if get warm or cold.
Dude, when you go without power for a few days, without water.
And plus, think about dependence on the internet and cell phones now. Like for people, oh man, if you can't charge your phone, you can't talk to people via text and on social media. Oh, people would die. People would start killing for that.
Shit would go down quickly, man.
Although food wouldn't be as important to people, they would be looking for like a charge. They'd be out there looking for a charge. Like, I'll suck your dick for fucking 5%. It'd be something like that. I could see that as like a future horror movie. It's gonna be something like that, like the apocalypse. They're like, oh, I fucking need it. I need a little Facebook. I need 5 minutes. What's on my feed? I got notifications.
No bullshit. Oh, I could see that, man.
People are like that.
So,
man.
like you said, the more likely scenario is some external force causing this thing to collapse, where it wouldn't cause that in a third world country because there is nothing to collapse. So people would be more adept at dealing with something like that than we would.
More everyday life for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, asteroid hits the Earth. Nobody's prepared for that. We're all fucked. No. I mean, only a few survive, if any. Like, you're screwed. I mean, you're fucked. Yeah. Hurricane, big earthquake, a lot of a super volcano like Yellowstone. If that should have erupted, it's like 20,000 years overdue. It's stupid. Yeah. We could people would go ham. Like, people would just start killing their neighbors. Like, just, I need your stuff. You got a faster car than me. I need that to get away from the lava or whatever it is. Like, I'm stealing your helicopter. Like, it just turns into people. Yeah, it's nuts.
It wouldn't take much for us to forget. I'm talking about within hours, we would be like, damn, we had it good. Yeah, and within hours,
those are my favorite type of shows too, and movies are like apocalypse or like what would happen if this would happen. I like seeing different people's takes on it, on like what it would be like. There's some super realistic ones where it's just like, oof, this is rough out here.
Yeah, no, I enjoy those things too because it makes you contemplate. First, it also makes you think, okay, like I really do have it now because if things ever went left, shit would suck, right? And also you think like I need to take advantage of. It makes you when I watch shows like The Walking Dead. Yeah. I live my life a little bit better.
Like, oh god damn it, zombies could be here tomorrow. I gotta get out there and live. I gotta live out there.
I gotta live my life, bro.
And I was just laughing because the situations you were talking about earlier, I'm just thinking is like, damn, he was trying to think about like the purge. You're thinking about America's becoming the purge. People out there just once a year purging,
just blasting, bro.
Yeah, that would be wild as shit. Those movies are insane.
Man,
they're okay.
Dude, you're a history buff to a degree because you listen to a lot of historical shit. Yeah. You like it's not like you're a history major, but you definitely read about that shit. And I mean, you've seen how quickly people can just go nuts.
Yep.
and for no particular reason.
A lot of it's religion.
no-
A lot of it's religion.
Mostly religion.
There's
mostly
a lot
religion.
of that, like God told me to do it type shit, or you don't have the right God type shit. I'm
Yeah,
taking your shit
but then
over because my God told me to type shit.
Yeah, but then there are those instances where people are just like, fuck it for the sake of fuck it.
yeah,
And that
for sure.
shit right there, man, it's when you see enough of that, you're like, man, how we've gone this long.
Well, I mean, people
without
try
that
to say
happening
that
to
the
us
Civil
is-
War wasn't about slaves, but I mean, think about that. That wasn't religion. That was just people fighting because they didn't like doing their own work. And it's like, God
yeah, free labor was gone.
damn, that's what
Yeah,
y'all are fighting for?
Yeah,
People
think
were
about
fighting
that.
for some bullshit. Like, God damn. People were fighting for some bullshit. Like, damn. But now you see why people, like, you see, like, viral videos on, like, what is it? World Star, where people are fighting at, like, a McDonald's over, like, they got the
A
wrong
cheeseburger
order or
shit.
something. Like,
Yeah,
they took somebody else's order. And it's just like, all right, okay. Well, I mean, maybe they really
Yeah.
into McDonald's. I don't know. I don't know this man's life. He might really
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, no, I've never thought about it like that, to the extent that the Civil War was fought predominantly because the thought of a person figuring out how to pick their own cotton, or paying people to pick their cotton,
Yeah.
was too much.
Yeah.
It's not that their cotton was being taken away from them,
It
their
was
way
changed.
of life.
It was changed. That was the.
It was changed.
People are
Yeah,
afraid of it.
It wasn't about their land being taken from them.
Well, you
their
know what's weird,
plantations
too?
being taken. It was simply about, you should either pay these people or let them decide if they want to continue working for you. And they were like, nah, bruh.
I don't know when the first slaves, like when they first brought people over, but I'm pretty sure I remember like reading when they first, like when we were first coming over. I mean, there were definitely times they were enslaving Native Americans. There were people
course.
like called indentured servants, which are basically like, you know, almost slaves. You work your shit off and then we'll let you go at the end. Like what? I mean, what is that?
And then
Some type of contract?
Never
Yeah, exactly.
worked it
And then
off.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they had just regular like prisoner type slaves that they had. So it's like it wasn't a new thing. So it's almost like all of America and that way of life was built off of other people doing your work. Whoever you could trick into it or figure out how to get them to do it, you were going to get them to do it. And that was from well before, you know, black people were brought here on ships.
Yeah,
It's just like I never thought about it in that way, but I mean, and it happened to, obviously the Chinese were brought here, and that happened to them with the railroads. It's like the whole goddamn thing was built off this shit.
Yeah. Louis C.K. says it best. The most,
I miss him.
slavery is wrong.
R.I.P. Louis C.K.
It's like, yeah, right. It's like, he's like, what does it go? Of course, slavery was wrong. It's like, of course. What's the joke?
I don't know. I feel
he
like
has
I
this
remember
thing in
it,
his mind, but it's like, of course, but maybe. Oh yeah. Of
but
course, slavery was
maybe-
wrong.
But,
But maybe if you think about the most impressive accomplishments in human history,
yeah.
all of it has been accomplished with slaves.
Didn't he say also something about
Everything.
not getting on the ship or something? I feel like he said something around like making sure like maybe if you got convinced you should get on the ship, like it was.
No,
I don't know.
that wasn't this one. He was like, how did we build these pyramids? Oh, we just threw death and suffering at it until it was done.
Until it was finished. Yeah, they still don't know how that shit happened.
Like, yeah, man, that's it's unfortunate. It's
hard to remember what fucked up
think
joke
about, man.
he was telling at the time. You know, he's got a lot.
Yeah.
of
it's been a lot since.
Yeah.
But no,
I heard
it's a weird thing to
telling
think about.
Jokes in Israel now or somewhere over there. Palestine?
didn't
Was
hear
it
that.
Palestine? It was somewhere over there. Like he was doing comedy and killing it. Like it was
Really?
he had a show, not that he was like a regular in Palestine.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
he
weird.
did the Dave Chappelle. Like he went to
Going
Africa.
down in Tel Aviv.
He went to Africa.
Hey.
He left.
Yeah.
He left all that money
Yeah.
and just disappeared to Africa to do crack cocaine. Remember that's what they were saying about
Yeah,
Chappelle?
that was the narrative.
Like nah, that's
Man,
not
they
what
really
he did.
try to do that man dirty. I'm surprised he came back.
Well,
but no,
man.
like that is a concept I've struggled with a lot too,
Yeah.
because like what does that mean? The fact that everything in life, this United States of America included, everything that we just wonder, like how did this come to be? Almost like a lot of these great feats, it's been through slavery, man.
Yeah.
Is it possible to
Well, I
accomplish
mean, it's
these
still all
great
over the
things
world
without
today.
it?
You know, it's still very
It's
prevalent.
still.
Yeah, you know what I showed? I showed my dad the Key and Peele sketch. He had never heard of Key and Peele or anything. He had heard of the Chappelle Show, and I had showed him stuff back in the day, but he had never heard
Did
of
he
Key
like
and
it?
Peele. Yeah, he thought it was funny, but like he had never. And I showed him the substitute teacher one. That's when he thought that was hilarious.
Timothy.
Yeah, Aaron. You know. But yeah, it was just it's
present.
It's crazy that's yeah. I mean, it's not crazy that was a time in America's history because it's so prevalent still in the rest of the world, and it always has been. Like, people that are more powerful are always going to pick on people that they can make weaker than them, or that are weaker than them, or whatever they can do to trick them. However it works, like that's people take advantage of people. That's just how it has always worked, and they try to get around doing work. Certain people, and not until recently has treating people with kindness and respect been kind of like the norm, or at least most people trying to do that,
at least attempting to.
Yeah. So I mean, that's at least what gives me some sort of faith that there's but we'll end up in a good place, and then the rock will hit and we'll all die.
You can make the argument too that that slavery is still quite prevalent in America.
Yeah, the prison system for sure.
And I was gonna say, with the prison system, that's free labor. That's pretty much free labor.
They talk about how how they're always like, man, you don't want to go to jail in this country.
Yeah.
They don't say that about America. America's jails and prisons are terrible. What the fuck is it like in other countries? Like, goddamn, when you talk about it's still like modern day slavery and people are making so much money off it. What the fuck are they doing in these other prisons? Are they making money, or they're just torturing motherfuckers all day?
They're just letting each other kill each other.
They're just having fucking bare knuckle boxing. Like, goddamn, I never want to find out for sure.
Could you imagine going to jail in like Serbia?
Any place, never.
Dude, imagine going to jail in a fucking like Croatia.
There's is it Bali or Jakarta? My friend went there, and I think he said it was punishable by death. Like, just having weed on you is like punishable by death.
That's what Duterte is doing in the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
Drug dealers. He's murdering drug dealers
and drug users too. The fiends mostly, because they're slow
somehow has gotten the support of the people. Like, and lot of people.
Trump said he was a good guy.
That. Yeah,
weird,
man.
Weird,
dude. It's I gotta look more into the whole prison thing and the free labor. But from what I've another episode on that. Prison. Yeah, but from what I have read so far, I would have a very hard time being convinced that it is something other than. I mean, slavery is such a strong word, but it's free labor. But then the argument is going to be, well, these people committed a crime. This is their punishment, and it's like. Yeah, that's a tough one to dissect, man.
Yeah, because it's not punishment on an individual basis; it's on a group basis. You're punishing people the same for different crimes.
Yeah,
but it just varies in length, but in severity it does not. And so in certain situations, but it's overall it's the same. Yeah, we could get super deep on that. We've actually done. We're at 2 hours. This is the longest episode we've done in a couple months, actually. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Let's
we
go,
were pretty
bro.
far. No video game talk either, so we'll have to continue that one next time.
Because
I could go for hours on that. I could go for hours on that shit eventually when we get on it. But hey, I told you all we had to do was start, and it would just roll out. So
yeah, man, that's true.
I'll throw some ideas out there at you for next time. We'll definitely get into the prison system though. That would
get this shit popping.
Yeah. So
yeah, man.
All right, cool. I'll take us out with some music.
Yes, sir.
Here whenever I see it out. And
can't see it, you're blinded. She don't realize it. And you can trust in my side, I know there's no lie. Can't see it, you're blinded. She don't realize it. I'll take that blame. Damage, I've laid. I can